And then the nominee for the party becomes what, they'll have to rally around her because they have no other choice. It gets really messy, right? And then you throw RFK in there, and then what the hell's going to happen? I mean, that's quite a mix.
You got it right.
All right, I promised we were going to get to this upcoming geopolitical shockwave. Again, you're calling it the most significant development in international finance since 1971. You have recorded a private video that we're not going to post on social, but people can go watch it. It also shows how anyone can position themselves to profit from this crisis. It's londonreal.tv/Jim. I mean, look, Jim, you're known for one of your most famous books, which is Currency Wars. And I know you probably can't tell us everything that's going to come up, but maybe you can give us a few hints of what you see happening in the next couple months. And I think it surrounds what's going on with some of these BRICS nations. But please tell us.
Yeah. First of all, the great thing about this one, Brian, is we don't have to guess the date. I can tell you the date. It's August 22nd, 2023, about 2 months from where we are now. It's a BRICS summit. It's in Durban, South Africa. Of course, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. So that's what the BRICS are. And they have a rotating presidency. So South Africa is the president. Ramaphosa is the president of the BRICS this year. And he's hosting this summit in Durban, South Africa. So people go, yeah, BRICS have been around forever. They've been meeting, yakking, whatever. Who cares? Well, here's what's different. Number one, this is a leaders summit, meaning Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Lula da Silva, Prime Minister Modi, and President Ramaphosa are all going to be there in person. Little twist on that, just if I can drop a quick footnote. The International Court of Justice has issued an international arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin. So, and South Africa is a member of the International Court of Justice. So will Putin be arrested when he steps off the plane in Durban, South Africa? I doubt it. I'm sure they're going to work that out in advance. But the president of South Africa has granted diplomatic immunity to all attendees of all BRICS conferences during their presidency of BRICS. I would have thought Putin had diplomatic immunity anyway, but this is a little drama in there. But I'm sure if they arrest Putin, there'll be consequences. So, but that's just a little sideshow going on, but an important one. But anyway, they'll be there. So leader summits are different. They have 190 BRICS meetings a year. I mean, this is a very mature organization at this point. They have a sports committee, they have a women's rights committee, they have a human rights committee, they have an immigration committee, they have banking, finance, and many, many others. So this is very active. They've built, I studied this closely and wrote an article about it, a long article. And that's what's summarized in your video. But they've been working on this since 2006. And they created the New Development Bank, the NDB. Well, it's an exact clone of the World Bank, except it's controlled by the BRICS. Then they created something called the Contingency Reserve Asset, which is an exact clone of the IMF. It's a swing lender, so you're running a balance of payments deficit. You got to run on the bank. Your currency's under attack. They can give you billions of dollars in loans until you can make some policy changes and then kind of prop it up. But that's why the IMF was invented, and that's what this is. So they've cloned the World Bank, they've cloned the IMF, they've got all these committees, they've been meeting for 17 years at this point, and now they're ready to unveil. Again, this will be the biggest shock in the international monetary system since 1971, when Richard Nixon suspended redemptions of dollars for gold among our trading partners. That was the shock, of course. But that's the kind of magnitude we're looking at. What the BRICS are going to do, they're going to unveil a new currency. Now, I've always poured cold water on the Chinese yuan is going to be the reserve currency, and the Russian ruble is going to be. I've always poured cold water on that. I've absolutely not. That's not going to happen. But a new currency, you're starting with a clean slate, and there's something else going on, which is just at the beginning of June 2nd and 3rd, there was another BRICS meeting. This was in Cape Town, again, South Africa, they're the host. These were the foreign ministers. So Sergei Lavrov was there and the other foreign ministers of the BRICS. And what they were doing was looking at the wait list. So BRICS, 5 countries, but they have a 17-country wait list, including 6 other countries that have applied for membership. They said, let us in. And 23 in total, 6 have applied, and 17 have expressed interest. Well, who's in that group? Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Iran, these are important countries, like them or hate them, but they're big economies.
I just want to alert everyone to an important video that you've just recorded that will not be available to the public. Here, you discuss the upcoming geopolitical shockwave of what you call the most significant development in international finance since 1971. But then you explain how anyone can position themselves to profit from this crisis. Our viewers can access that video at londonreal.tv/Jim, and I highly recommend that everyone go watch that immediately after our conversation.
Collectively, we're looking at more than 50% of global GDP, about 40% of global population, I think about 40% of the global land mass, because you got Russia and China in there, two of the 5 biggest countries in the world. 2 of the 3 biggest nuclear powers, including the biggest nuclear power, which is Russia. Throw Saudi Arabia in the mix, you got 2 of the 3 biggest energy producers, Saudi Arabia and Russia, et cetera. And the Indian population is surpassing the Chinese population as we speak, at 1.4 billion. So this is not some, rinky-dink group of the third world countries or whatever. It's not, Colombia and Syria, whatever. This is half the world or more in terms of population, resources, military capacity, land mass, and wealth and output. So, but if you expand the list to all the other countries I described, so now they're calling it BRICS Plus, but this could be by the end of August, they admit these other members, it could be 11 countries, and again, on its way to 20 or more. They're going to unveil a new currency. I don't know what it's called. I call it the BRICS as a working title, but maybe they'll take Bancor, which is what John Maynard Keynes did in 1944. Whatever they call it, it doesn't matter. It's a new currency. But this will start to look like the European Monetary Zone. This will start to look like the euro. So, Germany, France, and Italy, they're all different countries, and they have different bond marks, but they have the same currency. So when you expand the group, the odds that becomes a very successful, very liquid payment currency go way up, because no one's depending on China or Russia, and you're depending on this infrastructure, and it could be managed by this new development bank I talked about. And the other key thing, and this is the key to the whole thing, Brian, it's going to be linked to gold. Now, this is not a strict gold standard. I don't want to overstate it. I don't want to say if you had a brick, you can march into People's Bank of China and demand gold. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the value linked to gold. The whole idea is to get out from under the dollar. And I go back 10, 12 years. I used to warn, I was being in skiffs in the Pentagon and private meetings with the Treasury, and I warned them all. I said, sanctions work. The dollar's powerful. I get it. You're using it against Iran, but you're overusing it. You're over-applying it, and you are going to, at some point, people are going to get out of the dollar system. It's like, how many times can you hit the punching bag before the punching bag walks away?
Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.